Hi, Chad.
Your face is still on the background.
Oh yeah. I'll never live that down.
But do you want to?
Right.
Look at that guy.
Oh, goodness.
I was kind of, I could be wrong, but I was under the impression that I was your first guitar. And I did such a great job, dude. Oh, wide sensation.
You traveled far this time, man. So that's good.
Do we have a final order?
That's the musician. Rex might play to somebody. I don't know.
Yes.
He hasn't checked in with me. I don't know.
He's the guy in the flowery shirt and the cap. I'll run it for a few minutes and just have to follow.
I got it. You mean, and that one?
Don't want to mess with
I didn't know that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we learned strong. I didn't play it. I took lessons from him. Finished guitar arrangements. He arranged some of the stuff. He was a good buddy.
Well, I know that this is not
Jeff, what is it? Okay, what wine would Jeff drink?
Click the switch. Push the button. It just goes up.
Drop it on the floor.
There we go. I didn't know he was about to start.
Good morning. Good afternoon, all of you Christ fans. Thank you so much for coming out and helping us celebrate an incredible human being here today. Jeff was near and dear to all of us.
Let me turn off the...
First things first, in honor of Jeff, we'd like to do a toast. Now, I'm not the toastmaster of this particular toast. He's coming up in just a second. I think we've got one more video of our classical gas competition, I think this is, isn't it? Yeah. Then there's cat juggling immediately after that. So. I'm just kidding about the video. I'm just kidding. But yes, classical gas, and then get your drinks ready because we're going to have a toast here in just a little bit. Carry on.
This is contestant number 14.
the only guy that I ever knew
Drop them.
who could start that song, and by the time they got done with the song, I didn't feel sorry for him. Because everybody, including me, especially me, could get about part of the way through it and like, okay, and then it goes like, no. Jeff nailed it all the way down the line, and I learned a lot just from sitting beside him. I'd like to bring up Rhonda Foster at this time. No. Hang on.
Great. I didn't want to hold it. Okay. Thank you, each and every one of you, for being here today to celebrate Jeff's life. Looking around and seeing so many people who cared about him, it means the world to me, and I know it does to him. I can't put it into words, but hopefully you know they're heartfelt. I know Jeff would be humbled by this. He'd be honored that so many people showed up today because of how he touched your hearts, and he touched every one of us in a different way. He was one of a kind. He lived life on his own terms. Every one of you knows that. He marched to the beat of his own drum, and he was perfectly comfortable doing that. There have been a lot of different words used to describe him over the years, and I won't use any bad ones. But the funny thing is that every one of them was true. He was so unique. He meant something different to each and every one of you, and every one of you would have a different word to use to describe him. He was complicated, talented, funny, unique, independent, unforgettable, bombastic, a curmudgeon, and that's as far down the list as I'll go. He left something different with every person that came into contact with him. He may not be here with us physically, but there's so much of him that will remain with us. And I made a promise to him that I would keep his website, stringdancer.com, up and running, and I will do that. So hopefully if you will continue to visit it. If you haven't visited that site, you will. It's a place where you can watch him perform. We've got the videos, you can listen to the music, hear his stories, his journal page. I mean, there's stories about him plowing the hill in Greenbrier Lake. So, and that he was just an incredible talent. He had a unique personality, and that's what made him Jeff. That's what made him special to each and every one of us. I know each and every one of you will carry your own memories of him, and we will think of him fondly. We'll miss him. I know I will. When you will, you may hear a song, remember a story, or an experience, some little moment that suddenly brings him right back to you as it does to me. But for me, he was more than all of those memories. He was my husband, my best friend, my soulmate. And I'm grateful that each and every one of you came to go through this journey with us, and you were a part of his life's journey. Your friendship, your memories, your laughter, your music, and simply your presence here today, it's all part of his story that will continue to live on. His life ended way too soon, but his story won't end here. It will be carried with each and every one of us as we go forward. So please keep telling the stories, listen to his music, laugh out loud when you think of something that, only Jeff would say or do. There were many of those moments. And most of all, keep remembering him exactly as he was. He was completely, unapologetically, and uniquely Jeff. Amanda, Chuck, Natalie, Frank, and Hondo, today wouldn't have been possible without all of you. And Amanda and Chuck, you put in countless hours to make this the best memorial service that we could give Jeff and to honor him so proudly. So from the bottom of my heart, thank each and every one of you for coming into not only Jeff's life, but my life, and loving us and accepting us the way that you have, and help me keep his memory alive. Thank you.
And now the Toastmaster has arrived. And like I said, it ain't me. Mr. Hondo, get on up here.
Thank you, Frank. Oh, that's a nice loud microphone. Can we get all the lights up? Hi, everybody. My name is Hondo, and Jeff Foster was my friend. Every one of us here today can say those words. Jeff Foster was my friend. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you for letting me give this toast today. I'm going to take a couple minutes of your time, then we're going to toast. I moved here in 2006, and I met Jeff through Suzette Weekly and Bobby Lancaster as they were working on an album together at that time. Right after that, I ran into him at the Bloomington Showwriter Showcase, and after that, it was the Indiana fingerstyle guitar picking situation, and a lot of things along those lines, because Jeff and I became friends through a series of conversations that took place backstage and in green rooms. We kept seeing each other, and we kept having, he always engaged me, and we always had these great talks. I got to the place where when I would go to a gig and then I would find out that Jeff was going to be there, I knew that no matter how good I thought that gig was going to be, it was going to be a whole lot better because he was there. I think Hartford used to say, you just don't think it can get any better than it does. And that was Jeff. I wanted to share a quick memory I have of Jeff that I will carry for the rest of my life. Rhonda, I don't know if you remember this. It was a Valentine's Day, a couple years after we met, and my daughter Natalie and I came into a restaurant, and you guys were sitting there at a table on your Valentine's celebration. And I explained that my daughter Natalie and I had been going out on Valentine's Day since she was a little girl. That was our tradition. And Jeff just looked at me and grabbed my hand and looked me in the eye and said, "Well done, Hondo." And it took me off guard, and it put a tear in my eye, and I will remember that to forever. It was just the kind of guy that he was. Well, since Jeff had left this crazy world, I have had many conversations. I've had more conversations about him than I had with him, and I had a whole lot of conversations with him. Met with Rhonda last week. We sat down at the winery, which was supposed to be a meeting about what types of, how this was going to go today, and it ended up just being a storytelling fest, and 2 or 3 other people came into it, and we just sat there and talked, and at the end, we hadn't talked about this at all, and we looked at each other and said, "You good?" And she said, "Yeah, I'm good, I'm good too." And that's how it was. And it left me all these conversations that I've had with people about Jeff, left me with the understanding that we all have our own very unique, very emotional, very deep experiences with him and about him. But the one thread that continued to run through every one of those is that Jeff Foster was a good man. No matter what your experience, no one can deny that was a good man. I've never heard a bad word ever spoken about the man. Each of us have our stories to share about our friend Jeff, and today, we're celebrating his life through music, through memories, and in that beautiful Brown County tradition, through our storytelling. And I invite each and every one of you to tell your stories to each other, and if you get up here, to tell your stories as well. I put this down here somewhere, a little glass of Jeff's Cabernet. So if you will, please raise a glass and help me toast our friend Jeff Foster. He was a good man. He was a fine fellow, and may our love for him and our memories of him keep his stories alive for a long, long, long time. To Jeff Foster, everybody.
Thank you, Hondo. Hey, can I have my papers back? Those that you got in your hand, can I have those back? Yeah, that's Hondo. Hi, Hondo. Can I have those papers back? He thought I was kidding. Oh, yeah, okay, good. I killed a man in Kentucky for that. Thank you, Rhonda. Bless your heart. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank my friend, John Sisson, who had Jeff Foster sitting in his house one time and went, "Hey, you really got to meet this guy. This is somebody you probably should play guitar with. He's pretty good." I think that might have been Old Myers Road, maybe. I don't know, maybe way back in the day. And Jeff said, "Dude, you're upside down, man. You ought to switch him around, man. Play like I do." And I was like, forget about it. So he said, "Well, if you're that freaking obstinate, let's play some music." I said, "Okay." And many decades later, he is what my mom would refer to as non-material wealth. Because the wealth that we have, that we strive for, is material wealth. We want the car, the house, the nice things. Where is my beautiful house? Well, those are the things that we can buy. And then there's those things that are life's riches. And they're not a car. And they're the people we know. And they're you guys that are sitting out here right now. And they're people like Jeff that enrich our lives so much that you could not buy that, the feeling. You could not buy that kinship and fellowship and brotherhood. It's not for sale. Jeff, above all the things that he was to everybody else, which was wonderful talent, the best word I can use is he was my friend. And that covered a lot of ground. And we would play together and yell, scream about politics and stuff. Neither one of us drew a blade, so I figured we were okay. We'd like to kick this thing off right off here as quick as I can turn a page. I've got a good friend sitting down here. His name's John Whitcomb, and I'd like to get him up here to play some music for us because, well, this is about Jeff, and Jeff was about music. And I don't think we have too many better representatives than the one we have today here, so enjoy.
Are we muted here on this box right here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Line check. You can applaud for that.
I was a little late to the Jeff Foster game. We didn't know each other super well, but when we did cross paths, it turned into Guitar Nerd Hour, and it turned into guitars that how come no one's ever heard of this person? How come one's never heard of this person? And he sent me an email one day, and he goes, "Hey, I'm running the music for the Brown County Hour this week." He goes, "Is it okay if I play these two songs of yours?" And they're two songs that I wrote just because they're so weird. And I said, "Play them." I said, you might get complaints or from some listening audience that you played them. Nobody said anything, so, but I appreciate that he liked my weirdness. So. Can we get just a little more guitar, please? A little instrumental. The name of the song is The String Dancer.
And then you voted, just wrote that.
Actually, I'd like to say, we've got a couple folks that have asked to come up and speak, and that I'd like to invite one of them to the stage presently. If Frank Haney could come up and say a few words. And he's got to be a good guy because his name is Frank, of course.
Friends of America.
Yes, it's already on.
It is on, okay. Wow, I can only see lights, and I can see there are a lot of people out there. This is really wonderful. As you know, I used to be Frank Haney. That's right. He was a great guy. But as you can see, we're here to celebrate the life and music of our friend Jeff Foster, who had a very profound influence on my life, and I wanted to tell you how that all came about. I first met Jeff in the spring of 1977 when he was performing with Suzette Stewart, now Suzette Weekly. I was in a band with Mark Litz called Silver Wings, And we were beginning to see that band dissolve after 4 years, and Mark and I decided, well, maybe we should merge with Jeff and Suzette. You know, that might be a pretty good idea. Well, we did get together with them. Jeff and Suzette, back in 1977, they looked like rock stars. They looked like members of Fleetwood Mac. Jeff looked exactly like Lindsey Buckingham. It was intimidating. From our first rehearsals, their talent was really obvious. Suzette was a terrific singer, keyboard player, acoustic guitarist, and then there was Jeff Foster. Jeff could play an astounding number of stringed instruments, and he could play them all incredibly well, which was astonishing. I was first captivated by his banjo playing. He wasn't, a simple bluegrass player. He was like an early version of Bela Fleck. He could do things with a banjo that I didn't even think were possible. He was just a master melody guy with a banjo, and it was interesting where he could take a song. And then I discovered everything else he could do. He could play electric guitar like John McLaughlin, which was intimidating. You didn't want to follow Jeff when you were playing lead guitar. I would usually make sure I would play the first lead solo, and then Jeff would follow, because he would just murder the guitar. He would just play it. It would turn on fire. And there's no way you could ever, follow that. He was also a great mandolin player, mandola. He could play like Chris Hillman. And he could also sing and write. He was a wonderful writer. He wrote these like John Steinbeck type songs, and one of them was called I Remember, and was actually a real relative of Jeff's, a guy that gave up his family life to go up to northern Michigan and build a cabin and bring his piano up there and just play out in the woods. And this song was just wonderful to play. It just was so haunting to play this song. Well, Jeff, Suzette, Mark, and I were really incredibly excited about Seaflight, our new band. And our opening gig was at, if you remember this place, the Needmore Commune. And it really surprised a lot of our friends. It's like, wow, man, you guys are pretty good. And your name is Seaflight? Seaflight. That's a pretty good name. Okay. So we kept on going to Seaflight. And of course, we had actually enough material for 3 albums. Jeff wrote a lot of stuff, so did Suzette. I wrote a lot of music. And we thought this thing was really going to make a go of this. And of course, what did we do? We broke up. I took a hiatus from music. I finished my degree, and I decided to do an album called Frank Haney and the Farmers. And I asked Jeff to play on one song, and he graciously did it. And he was that kind of guy. I said, sure, I'll help you out, not a big deal. And so he did that. We decided to put together a band, and as that record took shape, I met this young fiddle player, and her name was Lisa Germano. You might have heard of her, along with Phil Starkey, Keith Cronin, and Lisa's brother John. We were putting together a very good sounding band, but there was one thing missing, and that was Jeff Foster. And we campaigned really for him. He had a great gig down at the Four Winds with Suzette. They were making money, they were doing great. Please, Jeff, join our band, it's gonna be great, really well. So he signed up to play our initial gig at Bear's Back Room. 3 nights, standing room only. We knocked everything out. It was wonderful, and I just figured that was the end of the story. But we had done some recording, and that we sent it to this new thing called the Homegrown Contest Project 1, sponsored by WFBQ. And the winning bands would appear on this heavily promoted album with the possibility of a record deal. So, nothing was gonna happen, right? Nothing's gonna happen. Nope, 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 nothing's gonna happen. No, 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 no. And then one day, a telegram shows up at my apartment. Huh, what could this be? Congratulations, farmers. You are now part of Homegrown Project #1. And we were just like, what? How could this possibly be? So Jeff and the rest of the farmers, we went up to Neon Cornfield Studios. We recorded a song by Lisa's brother John Germano called Ruby with the Roadmaster producer, Greg Riker. And for us, this was all pretty heady stuff. I mean, this is really big time. We just played Bear's Back Room, and now we're working with a really big producer. And that Homegrown record would go on to sell about 17,000 records throughout the state. Q95 had us in constant rotation, and Jeff's beautiful banjo part may have been the only banjo ever heard on Q95. Well, for the next year, the Farmers, with Jeff, we headlined places we never thought possible. We got the weekend slot on the Bluebird. We played the Patio, the Stabilizer, the Vogue, the Heron Art Festival, just some of the places we were playing. And for a brief time, we were Indiana rock stars. Just think of that. So hearing Jeff Foster and Lisa Germano play together was amazing. I mean, we would take, the whole band would just stop and almost like, geez, will you guys stop being so incredible? They were just insanely good. So, like all good bands, this one too broke up. So I decided I would put together another band called AstroSurf, and of course, that band broke up as well. And I folded my tent. I moved up to Chicago, and I married my wife, Elaine, who's out there. We raised a family, built careers in the film and medical worlds. And through all that, I still remain friends with Jeff. Jeff was that kind of guy that you could hum, and he'd say, hey, man, how you doing? That's great. We should get together and play. And he was always that kind of cat. So I was doing another record back in 2018. And I asked him to play on, and he graciously gave me a banjo track, and it sounded wonderful, on a song called I Am Floating. It just sounded like you were floating down the Ohio River. He was like something out of a Mark Twain book. And so that was our last collaboration, and I was very thankful for him, and I always be grateful that our paths crossed and that Jeff Foster was a part of my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Oh, you're welcome. I would like to, at this time, have some more friends join us on the stage to play some music. Jeff played with, I believe it was Carolyn Dutton, Tim Dooley, Tim Lane. These guys are incredible. If the members of Celtica or some semblance, please join us on stage. I'll bring in the dancers.
while Carolyn's getting set up, Jeff had played with us off and on, well, not off and on, actually, for several years. He had us on the radio hour, and somewhere along the line joined Celtic. I didn't really take the time to think back where he entered my life, or our lives. But he was fun to have in the band. I mean, I named it Celtica because there was just an array of sounds that would come out of it. You'd hear blues riffs, Carolyn would do gypsy jazz, and of course there'd be some flamenco coming from Jeff throughout the performances. So it was kind of Celtic everything. But he was fun to have in the band and added so much musically, of course. So we're going to do parts of two pieces. He put together our second CD, which is called Celtic Fire. And I thought about it. I should have just brought the CD and had Joshua play what we're going to play now, and then Jeff would be on it, and it would be perfect. So.
Yeah, I remember distinctly Jeff. His guitar playing always had a touch of flamenco to it. You could always hear it in anything he did. So we're playing these Irish fiddle tunes, and all of a sudden there's a little flamenco flair when he plays, which I always, I kind of went, whoa, and then I thought, well, that's different, that's okay.
over there, just kind of floating off, doing my taxes. The dancers are coming up now. They're very small, so you better watch. You'll miss them. Yes. We have some other folks here on the list I'd like to bring up to speak. I believe if we could have TJ come up. TJ, you want to come up, say a few things? He's a good-looking fella because he's a Jones, you see. If you've been anywhere near Bloomington for the last 30-some, 40 years, oh, stop it. You've seen this cat. And thanks for being here, buddy.
Yes. Hello, yes, my name's TJ Jones, and I've been a fixture here in Bloomington for, over 50 years now, believe it or not. It's hard for me to believe. Originally, I was going to perform here today with my friend, Ruthie Allen. Unfortunately, Ruthie came down with a health issue that just made it impossible for her to even travel, let alone play. But Ruthie and I go back to the late 70s, about the same time Frank was doing his thing with the Farmers. And Ruthie had a band called the Ruthie Allen Band. And I was a member of that band for a while, put out a record. Thank you. Somebody remembered. But yeah, Ruthie was going to be here, and I'm very sorry that she couldn't make it. But Ruthie introduced me to Jeff a few years ago. And that in turn led to me working with Jeff just a few years later on a project of my own. But before I get to that, I got a hold of Ruthie and asked her if there was anything she would like me to say in her behalf. So it's a short little message, but I wrote it down so that I don't fumble and mess it up. First of all, of course, she's very disappointed that she couldn't make it here, as am I. And this is pretty touching here. She wants to thank Rhonda for loving and taking good care of Jeff and for making him happier than he has ever been. I think we all can agree with that. And she says she loved Jeff, as I'm sure many of us here felt that way about him. So, like I said, I got to meet Jeff through Ruthie. And the way that worked out is, Jeff and I had been aware of each other for years because, we were both fixtures on the local music scene, but somehow him and I never even actually met, let alone play together, even though we probably worked with some of the same people. So fast forward a few years, and Ruthie is working on an album, and Jeff is a part of that project. And Ruthie asked me to play guitar in one of her songs, and that was how I met Jeff, even though we didn't really get to hang out since it was Ruthie's project. But a few years later, about 5 or 6 years ago, I finally got around to doing my first solo project. And I thought about that album that Jeff had worked on, which sounded really, really good. And so I got a hold of Jeff and asked him, if he would be the engineer and, at his studio and record, help me do my first album, which of course he agreed to. And turned out that Jeff and I, well, first of all, it was mostly him and I doing all the music on the whole album. There were a handful of other people who played on it, but I'd say about 95% of the music was just me and Jeff. And we recorded at the cabin that he and Rhonda had here in Nashville. And a lot of times it would be just me and Jeff hanging out in the studio recording. Sometimes Rhonda would show up and I'm still there working with Jeff. And we spent a lot of time together. And I really got to know Jeff in that period. because not only did we do music together, which he was very talented, as we all know, and he contributed a lot to it, to my record. He had talents that I did not know he had. First of all, he was actually a very good drummer and percussionist, which I don't think a lot of people knew that. I didn't know that. One song in particular on that CD of mine was an instrumental, kind of a Santana type groove on it. Well, Jeff programmed all the drums and percussion, and then he took a solo that just blew my mind. He was very, very good. But yeah, you know, like I said, we spent a lot of time talking together. I think between the two of us, we solved the problems of the world. People would only listen to us, which they don't. But, you know, we also had our differences. Jeff was a man of strong convictions, which I am too, so you can imagine how that went. But in spite of that, you know, we never were mad at each other, even if we had disagreements about whatever, politics, what you name it. At the end of the day, we were still friends. Nobody's upset with anybody. We could talk about anything and understand each other's point of view, which is what a good friend does. A good friend does not always agree with you, because if they do, they're not actually a good friend. That's somebody pretending to be your friend. A good friend will tell you if they think you're wrong, which Jeff had no problem with that. But, you know, like I said, we ended up being very good friends. It was a very good experience. I am glad I got to do that with Jeff, and I have my own personal record of him performing, doing his music, doing the production on my CD. I needed that support because I'd never done one by myself before, and he guided me through that. Forever, I'll be grateful for that. And Jeff, may you rest eternally in peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have another fella that I'd like to bring up, if I could. Del Sheets and I started this little thing called the Lost Cabin Lodge, and I think Jeff eventually inherited it, and or should I say, was cursed with it. And one of the people that we enjoyed bringing in and torturing at every opportunity was Dave Seastrom. And if we could get Dave to come up and say a few words now, I'd sure appreciate it. Thank you.
We have a mic and we have a mic stand, but the mic stand is completely worthless. Yeah, okay, all right. But y'all can hear me, right? So my good fortune to meet Jeff Foster had to do with the fact that he recruited me for the Brown County Hour, which is a radio show that he was deeply involved with from the very beginning. And I had been aware of the show. My wife Becky and I attended several of the early fundraisers, and I always kind of had my eye on that. And one day Jeff Foster calls me up and he's like, "Hey, we're looking for content providers. And I've been reading your stuff on Facebook." He said, "Would you have any interest in joining the show?" And that's how it all began. We most recently, the Brown County Hour, had a tribute show to Jeff, and I'm going to do a little shameless promotion for the show right now. The episode is 171, and that show is, I think, a wonderful tribute to Jeff, mostly because Jeff is being interviewed as he was retiring 10 years ago. And it also includes 3 of his unbelievably good guitar solo pieces. But one of my favorite parts is how the crew discussed Jeff Foster. And I think the word curmudgeon was used a dozen times, at least. And yeah, the thing about Jeff, and it's been said so many times today, I'm not going to labor the point, but the thing about Jeff is you always knew exactly what was on his mind. There was never any ambiguity with this fellow. And to honor him, and I hope I can pull this off, I have a cowboy poem from a man named William McRae. It's called Reincarnation. What is reincarnation? A cowpoke asked his friend. His pal replied, it happens when your life is at its end. And they wash your neck and comb your hair, clean your fingernails, and place you in a padded box away from life's travails. The box in you goes in a hole that's dug into the ground. Reincarnation begins once you're planted neath that mound. Them clods melt down just like your box and you who is inside, and then you're just beginning your transformation ride. In a while, the grass will grow upon your rendered mound, and before long on your moldered grave, a lonely flower is found. And says a hoss should wander by and graze upon this flower, this thing that once was you and is now your vegetative bower. The posy that the hoss doth et, up with his other feed, provides bone and fat and muscle essential to the steed. But there's a part that he can't use that passes right on through, and it lays upon the ground, this thing that once was you. It says I wanders by and sees this on the ground, and I wonders and I ponders at this object that I've found. I thinks of reincarnation and life and death and such, and I come away concluding, Jeff, you ain't changed that much.
And now for something completely different.
If you saw the slideshow before the show began, I think I played in about 4 different bands with Jeff in a 20-year period. It started out as, I think, Amanda. We were a trio for a while, Amanda, Jeff, and me. And then, what? Yeah. And then I played some duos with Jeff. We would do all sorts of fancy gypsy type stuff. And then there was a brief trio with Frank and Jeff and I. We had a great time. We used to meet up in his studio to rehearse, but instead we just sit there and talk and try to think up names for our band.
I love that part.
We never came up with it. Occasionally we'd learn a new tune, but basically that was it. It was really fun, actually.
It was, yeah.
I thought we had a great band, and did I tell the story about how this band broke up?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Okay, watch out, because it's coming. So we had a gig, I think it was at the winery or something, and all of a sudden Frank called and said he wasn't going to be able to do it.
Was that the winery or was...
Should I tell the story?
That might have been the porthole, maybe.
Okay, well, anyway, no, I don't know where this went. Well, anyway.
So, no, that wasn't me.
Frank called and said he wasn't able to do it. He had to go down south to help his brother build a house or something. I forget what it was.
It's hard telling. Has it been more than
So
a
we
week?
canceled the gig. And the next day on Facebook, it's pictures of Frank at the Rolling Stone concert in Indianapolis. Jeff never forgave him. He never forgave him. I said, oh, come on, you know, it's all right. But am I telling this correctly?
Oh, no, and I've done that with so many bands, I can't tell you. No, I'm just kidding. Well, just goes to show you.
So tell us about this song, Frank.
It was what, I'm sorry?
This song is called
Oh, well, now,
Otmar.
is it Otmar? Do you want to do the other?
Otmar Zawini.
Otmar Zawini, is that our one?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
This is a song Jeff and I were listening to the radio one day and making fun of smarmy people. And it's like smarmy musicians who just kind of take a genre and, well, the person that comes to mind is Esteban. If you've ever bought a guitar from him, I'm sorry. He was on Shopping Channel in the 80s forever, had a little hat, just was terrible. And this is kind of like a spoof song, but not. Because after we played it for a while, it's like, you know, it's not a bad song. Maybe we ought to be serious about, nah. And it was a guy that was named Otmar. And we came to the conclusion that Otmar was a weenie. So the name of the song is Otmar Zawini. Thank you so much.
Hey, can I tell a quick story?
Oh, please go right ahead.
So I'm playing a nylon string guitar, and it's all because of Jeff. You see, for the longest time, I was a rock and roller. You know, you got to play a Stratocaster or a Les Paul, right? And I was taking lessons from Jeff, and anybody that took lessons from Jeff, that's basically get together with Jeff and drink some wine and talk about guitars, right? And through an unfortunate accident, I severely hurt my left hand. So be careful with power tools, kids. And I thought nylon string guitars were kind of for weenies, you know? And Jeff's like, brother, you really need to look at the nylon string. And, you know, he could play the shellac right off of the instrument. So I got the nylon string, and honestly, it was because of Jeff, and never looked back. So thank goodness for him, man.
Yeah. It brought a lot of stuff to a lot of different people's lives. Yeah, it's a very good thing. You guys want to try another one? See if there's a, okay. Yeah. This is one that Jeff and I used to do all the time. That just, it was one that I grew up listening to, and it was about one of my favorite songs to play with Jeff, because he would just, as Frank was saying, he would just take off. And he would take it to another place. And it really didn't matter which song. A lot of my own tunes we would do. He got the same treatment. But this is one that we enjoy. It's a song by Robbie Krieger. Well, you know that it would be untrue, and you know that I would be a liar if I was to go and tell you, hey girl, we couldn't get much higher. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire. Well, the time to hesitate is through. No time to wallow in the mire. Try now, we can only lose, and our love become a funeral pyre. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire. Hey, see for that. Well, you know that it would be untrue, and you know that I would be a liar if I was to go and tell you, girl, we couldn't get much higher. Yeah, come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire. Thank you. Thank you so much. We've got a young lady that's joined us here a little bit later this evening, and she's an integral part of Jeff's history and his music. If we could have Suzette Weekly come up. Yeah! And say a few words if you wouldn't mind.
I used to be Suzette Stewart. That's right. I want to apologize, first of all, to John. John, I ran down to see the guy who used to be Frank Haney. And I ended up being there for a little bit. But I'm the reason Jeff Foster ended up here. I am. I was a head waitress at a place called The Regulators. Anybody remember that? Yeah, well, one night they had this trio, Foster, Rutt, and Hayes. And I was a real sucker for a great guitar player. I just was. I couldn't help myself. And the music started playing. I never paid any attention to the band until they started playing because most of them were, you know. But then this band started playing, and I turned around to pay attention to them, and there was like this really hot guy, looked just like Lindsey Buckingham. He really did. And he was all over his, at the time, I think he was playing a mandola and a banjo. He did pick up a guitar a little bit later on, and he was okay. He was okay. He was okay on the guitar, but he ripped up that banjo, buddy, and I was a sucker for that. And so it turns out that the piano player, was his last name, was married, had a child, went back to Muncie. That's where they were from, Muncie. Muncie and Newcastle. I think thereabouts, anyway, pretty far away. And so him and this redheaded singer, who reminds me of Frank Jones quite a bit, needed a place to stay. And I said, well, you can come to my place and crash at my little house. And they did, and they never left. They just stayed there for a long time. Dick finally gave up and went back home, but Jeff stayed. And he had a real propensity for playing guitar. In fact, I would leave for work. I was the happy hour lady because I was the head waitress there. So I didn't have to go in until about 2, and I'd leave. And Jeff was a night owl. He would be playing guitar when I left in the waterbed. And when I would come home in the evening, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, he was still playing his guitar. Hadn't moved a bit. He would not eat unless I gave him food. He wouldn't have. He lived for music. He was all about it. That's all he ever was. He had an old Yamaha guitar that he just beat the shit out of. It had a big hole in it. I mean, he made Willie Nelson's guitar look new. And so it was so bad that he couldn't play it anymore, so we figured out a way to glue some tapestry on it, and it still has it somewhere, actually. I kept good track of that guitar, and it didn't change the tone at all. It was wonderful. And then we were in couple of bands together, but musically, now you may not know this about Jeff, but he's a little busy musically. Sometimes I'd say, Jeff, I just want an A minor. You know, I'm a C, D, G, F kind of gal, you know. And Jeff had to augment, diminish, throw in whatever. If it was there, he put it in a song. He could not help himself. That's correct. He could not help himself. And ultimately, I think that's kind of why we parted ways. And musically, he just wanted to really wanted to be a flamenco player, I think. And so we did end up parting ways. And he went off and married some lady who was, okay, I think she's passed away now, so I can say this, not very nice. She was not very nice to him, but at that time it was like, tag, you're it. So she got him in school. She got him educated. That was a good thing. And from there, he ended up going to Hungary, meeting another lady in Hungary and Croatia. Right. Did I mention I was an A minor kind of gal? Anyway, Croatia. And she changed his life tremendously. She really took him to the next level internationally, for sure, in the way he looked at the world. Then he came back to Indiana, up in Muncie. I had a little group by then called Me and Bobby. We hadn't become Stella and Jane just yet, but we were Stella and Jane right about then, and we needed somebody to fill the gaps because I just play guitar. I did learn how to play bar chords because Jeff freaking insisted that I couldn't do the cheat chords. So I learned how to do that and taught Bobby to play mandolin and kind of wooed him down back this way. That's how he came back to Bloomington. Soon thereafter, he met Rhonda. Tag, you're it. And she did take very, very good, I swear, you all know Jeff, right? Okay. So Rhonda kept him alive probably an extra 20, 30 years. Anyway, I loved his song, I Remember. It's on the Stella and Jane CD. And that is really who Jeff aspired to be. Although I'm not really sure he was actually related to the family, was he? He was my granny on my daddy's side. Had another husband who ran to hide in the far and uncut hills way up in Michigan. Right? So we don't know about Ira, but he was a curmudgeon, I hear, and I think Jeff loved him. I don't know that he ever met him, but I think he kind of fashioned his life about it a little bit. And so that's about all I have to say, except I can almost see him sitting there. It's kind of funny, and he finally got his dream guitar. I know we talked about it before he passed away. He waited and waited for this guitar, and there it is. So, yeah, I'm really happy for him that he did get that. He did get to enjoy it a little bit toward the end, and that's about all I have to say, except, I think we'll miss him. I'll miss arguing with him. I'll miss arguing with him so much. Just like Chuck said, a couple other people have said, you can have a disagreement with him, but it never made him mad. He never got mad at you for it. We just agreed to disagree, and then I would always sign off, like I'm going to sign off right now. Jeff, the earth is a sphere. Thank you.
That was a sticking point, but not too bad. We've got one more musical act that we'd like to bring up today, and I think you'll enjoy them. I've never seen these people before. I know nothing about them. They just showed up and gave you money, so now they're on stage. How about that? No, I'm just kidding. It's Amanda Webb and all of her lovely friends and family, and I think we got Ori. This guy, we just bailed him out. He's new. Enjoy.
Can you turn me on?
Ooh, she's live. Hi, everybody.
So I'm really glad that they told that story, Carolyn told that story about Frank Jones going to see the Rolling Stones concert because, Frank, I'm just so thankful you did that. Where's Frank? Because I would not have ever played with Foster had Frank not abandoned him for the Rolling Stones. So thank you, Frank. It was shortly after that Jeff called me and he's like, "Hey, I need to fill in. I'm just done with the Frank Jones. Done with him. He just abandoned me. I'm not gonna play with him anymore." And anybody who knows Frank and Jeff, they had an on-again, off-again love affair. That was an off moment. I'm so glad they absolutely loved each other and they could butt heads like nobody else. Am I right? Am I right? Amen. That was so great, but they always went back and they were always playing together and because great music finds each other. I'm going to introduce everybody. Hang on a second. I just want to say that I'm getting up my courage here because I'm not really handling it. You tell.
Jeff always had a thing for tech and new ideas and new things. He was always talking, as you guys probably know about, his MIDI guitars and all the things you could do with several combinations of MIDI. Well, he'd been researching this company. It's a carbon fiber guitar, and you guys probably heard from him at times. He was really researching this thing, and Jeff had gotten sick, but he was like Job there for a minute. Rhonda, it was one thing after the other. He crashed a motorcycle, lifelined to a hospital. His house burnt down. He had cancer. He had COVID, and it was one thing after the other. And then after it was all said and done, he's, I'm going to get that guitar. I went, Jeff, you're not playing anymore. I'm going to. And he was just so dead set. And this guitar, it's a carbon fiber guitar. It has these ghost pickups underneath the saddle. It has MIDI, and it's got push-pulls for the humbuckers, and you can do them in any combination. There's 100 different combinations of tones you can make with it. And it was his ultimate dream guitar. And so we're very honored to bring it today in memory of Jeff.
We want everybody to come up and check it out.
And one thing I want to say to everybody, Jeff and I were always not at odds, but we always did what she said. And so Jeff appreciated me carrying stuff and so forth with all their gigs and whatnot. And we played together a few times. But with everything that was going on, all the hardships he had, one thing that I will appreciate greatly with Jeff is the last few years that we were helping out with just stuff because he was falling apart. As he had more challenges, that guy got happier. I mean, I'd go spend time with him at the trailer when Ron was working and Jeff was by himself. And one day, we get this emergency phone call because Jeff had fallen down. And I didn't say this to Rhonda, but I will do anything for you guys, but I do not want to walk into a room and see Jeff pass. And I was really sweating it. She's freaking out. She gets this emergency call from his watch because he had fallen. And so we go over there, bang open the door, and I see Jeff laying down. I go, Jeff, and he's like, I'm right here. Okay, thank you. Well, so I didn't have to do that, and he laughed about it. He broke his hip, and he was just there smiling. And I won't tell you some of the honorary things he said, but he was just yucking it up. And Rhonda was about to kill him, and it was just one thing after the other. But the fella the last time I remember talking to him, he was just happy to be here every day, and I'm inspired.
Okay, I'm gonna try and.
The falling leaves by my window, the falling leaves, red and gold. I see your lips, summer kisses, the sunburned hands I used to hold. Since you went away, the days grow long, and soon I'll hear a winter song. But I miss you most of all, my darling, when autumn leaves start to fall. The falling leaves drift by my window. The falling leaves, red and gold. I see your lips, the summer kisses, oh, the sunburned hands I used to hold. Since you went away, the days grow long, and soon I'll hear a winter song. But I miss you most of all, my darling, when autumn leaves start to fall.
For those of you who do not know, that was the signature piece that Jeff and I would always do. Thank you, Ori. Ori's played with Jeff forever in all, I think, multiple iterations. You don't want to say anything?
And one thing I think we can all say about Jeff is, as much as we loved him, the inverse was correct. And as a curmudgeon as he was, we always remember him for that.
So while these folks are coming up on stage, I'm going to introduce them and tell a little bit about my Jeff journey. Right now, I play a lot. I play all over this community, and I have a name for being a musician, but none of that existed before Jeff came into my life. I'd studied, I'd gone to school, I thought I knew what I was doing, but after graduation, I had no clue. I didn't know how to make a dime in the music world. And I had been in Celtica. Tamara had brought me on to sing a couple pieces in Celtica, and I got to meet Foster there. I thought he was larger than life. He looked like Mark Twain sitting there with his banjo and his pipe, and he smelled like wisdom.
Higher proof wisdom.
Very high proof wisdom. And he really took me under his wing. So he got mad at Frank one day, and I'm so glad he did, because he called me up and he said, I need somebody to do this. And I'm thinking, I don't know what made you think I could do this. Like, I've never played a gig in my life, and I'm maybe sounding at church, and I would love to play out, and I would love to sing out, but I've never done, I have no idea. And he said, okay. And here I am thinking I'm a musician. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I got this. I know what I'm doing. I didn't want him to know I didn't know what I was doing. So I said I'd do this gig with him, and I'm thinking, okay, well, when are we gonna rehearse? Because I come from a classical background. You have 500 rehearsals in one show. And he's like, oh, we'll get together the night before. And I'm like, what the? I can't do this. And my husband will attest, she was freaking out. I was definitely freaking out. And Jeff and I sat down, and I was like, what are we gonna, I'm even asking him like 2 weeks before the show, Jeff, what are we gonna play? And he's like, whatever you want, it's fine. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy's an idiot, whatever I want. He hasn't even seen whatever I want. And he sat down, and I was like, okay, let's do this. He played Circles Around Me. It was the most beautiful, exhilarating, freeing musical experience of my life. He taught me how to book a gig. He taught me to be confident in myself. I was writing my own music, and he said, we need to record that. I would not be here today if it weren't for Jeff. And I'm mad at him every day for leaving me. I'm sure Rhonda's mad too. So here I am losing my shit publicly. Sorry about that. But Jeff, he went on to do greater things in the world of flat Earth. And I'm so happy that he did. He was very happy doing his security job for that moment. He was, and I kept saying to him, I want you to come back, and I want to play this stuff, and we have to record some of his music. And he'd say, Red, if there's anybody that could make me do it, it would be you. It would be you. But yet, even I could not make him come back. I'd go over and I'd make him pick up a guitar and be like, let's play this one. Let's play this one. He'd play for me for a couple minutes, and he would never come back to the stage and do a show. I think the most I got to play with him was after the house burned down. We did a benefit for them, and Jeff played, but I don't think he played out after that, did he? So, I didn't stop doing music. I still did. And later on down the road, I met these guys. This is Jared Asher, my now drummer, and Nicole Asher, his wife, my bassist. And thank you. And when I met Jared and Nicole, and we were doing projects, and Jared would the first time we ever got together, we were writing music, and it was great. And I started hanging out with Jared, and I go, oh my God, this is my new foster. He has a little the same crazy, telling stories about Jeff. I'm like, yep, that one right there is a little crazy. And I'm so thankful that they're in my life, and I'm so thankful that his wife is along for the ride too, because somebody's got to hold on to that crazy. Rhonda was always, when Jeff and I played, Rhonda was always right there in the audience. She never missed a show. And Nicole's like, hey, I want to be on the stage, so here she is. And in that vein, I want to play for you a tune that we've written for this band, Sustain, because none of this would be here without Jeff. And Brian, we're gonna play an acoustic version. We're really much harder rock than this, but Jared is struggling right now. So for all the guitars and guitar toys that Jeff has, Jared has drum toys. And Brian is not playing his Les Paul. He's gonna play this beautiful emerald guitar for me. I just wanna do one more because I just want to honor him and let him know I'm not stopping.
I've wanted you so long, my candles are burned and gone. And a sudden shift in the wind, in breathing you in. This desert hint of rain, I come alive again. And I'm trying to wait. You've got me on my knees, like a beacon in the dark, fireworks about to start. I can only hear my heart, and I want it right now. Spoil the rain that starts to grow, and everything's about to blow. Feel it deep in my bones, and I want it right now. I'm starting to crack. You've got me on my knees, like a beacon in the dark. Fireworks about to start. I can only hear my heart.
Thank you so, whoops. Thanks. Thanks, my lovely friends, for coming out and hanging out with us and playing music and giving props to a hell of a guy. We're all glad we got to know him, glad we got to be with him. If we could at this time, I'd like to get Dave Bartlett, if he's here, to come up and say hi. We're about to wrap it up, folks, and I just wanted to let everybody know that there's going to be a pick around over at the Beer Gardens at Ferguson House a little bit later on. Feel free to come over there, make noise, throw fruit or vegetables, whichever you like. It doesn't matter. Okay, yeah. And thank you. Here's Dave.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Rhonda for the opportunity to come up here and honor Jeff for a minute. I think Jeff did for me something I don't think anybody else in the world could have. He helped me get connected with music that I had written 35 years earlier than I recorded it. And he started by I met him through my job. He was working for Ivy Tech, teaching music, and he came to the Career Resource Center, and I was director there. And so he was going to teach some banjo classes, actually, at the CRC, so very interested in what he had to say, and I took his class. It was terrific, and so I decided to take lessons with him. And we started out, and Jeff tried to teach me the right way, and it was clear that that wasn't going to work. And I told him basically what I needed was I wanted to learn how to play my own music. I had written it several years earlier, but I had done nothing. I had not written a song. I had not even made a lyric for 35 years. But somehow I had this notion that I wanted to be able to play it, at least not in the manner in which I was playing it, which was really awful, and nobody would want to listen to it. So Jeff took a leap of faith with me because, as it turned out, I thought that I had written a lot of songs, but when you get down to it, there's a difference between a concept and an actual song. So a lot of the material was unfinished, and I had to build my skills back. And Jeff, being the person that he was, he took on the challenge and he helped me to concentrate on, I played these very rough versions, and he helped me, and eventually it led to the recording of a CD. At that time, it was something I just had no familiarity with, and he had to fulfill several roles. He was my teacher. That is, he taught me how to play what I was attempting to play. He was my collaborator. In fact, he and Carolyn Dutton co-authored 3 songs with me, all instrumental on it. He was the producer. He was the one with the vision. Jeff was the type of musician that, he could play, but he could listen to music and hear things that other people wouldn't, and that was just so valuable. He was also a connector. Through him, I met wonderful musicians, Amanda Webb, Suzette was there, and a few, Carolyn certainly was part of that, but a couple who are no longer with us, Slats Klug and Mel Chance, who made wonderful contributions on it. But what I had to learn in the whole process was how to finish, and that took real work. And when you're young, it's easier to noodle around and kind of just intuitively find things by kind of the happy accident process. But to really produce a song out of a concept takes real work, and Jeff was my guide in all of that process. I certainly couldn't have done it without him. So what ended up happening was it took about 1.5 years to do the whole thing, and there was a version of me as a musician before Jeff and a version of me after Jeff. And obviously the after Jeff was a lot better, and hopefully something that somebody would want to listen to. So on the project itself, though, after all was said and done, and Jeff made fantastic contributions. He did all the rhythm, he did the bass, he had wonderful lead parts throughout the whole thing. But I know for a fact what his favorite part of the project was. And it was a song that actually he came up with a title, named it after my wife, called Robin's Rumba. And it's kind of a minor swing, a jam that we just turned into a song through working with Carolyn also on it. And so what I want to do is I would like to play, I'm not going to play the whole song, it's a little long, but I wanted to play the part that I think Jeff really loved this particular thing out of the whole project. And just as an aside, when Carolyn had put down her violin part on it, and after Jeff recorded his part on the song, Carolyn came back in and said, okay, because there was, I suppose, a little bit of friendly competition, but she was inspired because it was so uplifting. So at this point, I really would like to just play a sample of that song to show you what, obviously, Jeff's terrific talent brought to this mix. So if we can we just play that now? I want to make sure that Carolyn's part got in there as well. Well, listen, so for what Jeff did for me, transformed me as a musician, and we've heard that many times over. But I just want to say that I recognize that his contribution to me, I just want to thank him and say that what he did, that's, for me, that's forever. So thank you, Jeff.
Thanks for hanging around with us today. I think we got one more gentleman that needs to say a few words. Is Scott Connor in the audience today? Scott Connor. I'd like to take just a quick second to thank the folks here at the Playhouse, all the volunteers, everybody that helped put this thing together to keep a really talented guy in the forefront like Jeff. Thank you so much, Brown County Playhouse. Thank you.
First off, I wanted to say, Rhonda, I'm very, very sorry for your loss. Real quick, I can do this in about 3 minutes because I did it in my truck on the way here. Real quick, when I was a kid, I got picked up here in Nashville, over here at the Little Nashville Opry by Charlie Daniels when I was, I think I was 25, 26 years old maybe, and I'd had a song on Christian radio that had become a hit, and he had called me and said, hey, I'm coming to your town. I live over by Camp Atterbury. I live on a farm over there. And anyway, that was one of those life-changing moments for me. It got me going. And the Larry Crane Band had just started, and we worked together and built an album. And then I took a couple of tracks to Charlie, and we finished them down in Mount Juliet, Tennessee, at his place. And my wife got pregnant, and I tabled everything. I went back to work, and we had 2 daughters, and we raised them. And then I went back to Nashville when I was in my 40s. I'm 62 now. And I was there for just a little while, and I got picked up by Sony. And then I got a couple tracks picked up. I got one picked up by Tanya Tucker and one by T. Graham Brown, and started working with all these other writers. I'd never done co-writing before, and that was interesting. But I wanted to come back. My mom and dad were getting older. And when I met Jeff, we started playing together, and it's one of the biggest missteps I've ever made. I didn't know how to put his music with mine. I apologize, but it was just one of those things. A lady said earlier, he played all over the freaking place, and I didn't know what to do with that. He was just so good. And I told Rhonda, I kind of stepped away from that because I said, he's too good. He's making me suck so bad. And, but I was honored to know him. He's obviously left a mark here. And that's all.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you very much. The Playhouse, I think, has it's a juggling act coming in here very soon, so we're going to need to get the heck out of here. But we're going to be getting together over at the Ferguson House, I think, and play a little bit of music over there. Anybody that wants to come over and hang out, and like I said, if you have some overripe fruits, feel free to come over and enjoy yourselves. Thanks so much for being here and helping our friend move on. Thank you.
talking.